I'm Lindsay Soto alongside Dave Miller, who you will recognize from his days as a Trojan assistant coach from 1996 to 2001. The Henry Bibby days took him to the Elite Eight, and then has spent the last couple of seasons, or the last couple of years rather, coaching the New Orleans Hornets as an assistant coach there. So, Dave, welcome to Fox. We're happy to have you with us.
It's great to be here.
So let's talk about what we've seen in this game so far. A very close game at the half with USC. As always, it's all about defense. Tim Floyd preaches it constantly, and that's what got them back in this game.
There's no doubt. If you know anything about Tim Floyd and all the programs that he's been at, defense comes first. Rebounding comes 1A, and that's what they've been able to do right now. Their defense picked up. They were able to go on an 8-0 run, and in order for them to win this game, and I'm sure it's being addressed right now in the locker room, that defense has to get at another level, and Tim Floyd's capable of bringing that out in this Trojan team.
Of course, you were saying in the first half when we were in there watching the game, you kind of think that maybe Stanford is helping out USC's defense with some of the things that they're not doing well.
A little bit. If I'm Trent Johnson right now, I'm talking to my bigs in the locker room and telling them we need to get the ball in the paint. As you see there, Lopez is off the block. There's a hard double. USC does a great job and forces the travel. Next time down, Brook gets a little bit closer. All of a sudden, the double comes, but there's got to be better spacing and a better pass out. Right here is ultimately what Trent Johnson wants. 2 feet in the paint, and it'll equal a score.
All right, so that's the story so far. Lots more coming up here at the half. We're also going to take a look at that UCLA game. They beat Cal today and swept their Bay Area weekend. Keep it here. Coming right back. By your Southern. Kind of an ugly game that you just witnessed at Maples Pavilion. USC now 0-2 in conference play as they fall to the Stanford Cardinal. 52-46 the final score. This is Trojans Live, the post-game show. I'm Lindsay Soto alongside Dave Miller, former USC assistant coach back in the late 90s. He's spent the last couple of seasons with the New Orleans, Oklahoma City Hornets, whatever you want to call them, and now he is joining us here at the desk. So, like I said, kind of an ugly game, incredibly low scoring. This is the lowest scoring output for the Trojans this season, and yet they still had their opportunities late in the game.
No question, and if you're Trojan fans, do not worry. This is a game where you played hard. It just didn't work out. The score is definitely indicative of how Tim Floyd wants to play. But you have youthful players, inexperienced players. O.J. Mayo is going to be a great player, can carry this team in time. But right now, there's not a Chris Paul, there's not a Brevin Knight to be able to take control. These are young players, and it's going to take time to work its way out.
What do you think of the way that USC played down this stretch? They ran down and popped up some early threes every time down. Was that the right thing to do?
You know, that's youthfulness. That's an urgency to score, and maybe not really knowing that there was somebody open. And you know what? We all as coaches and fans can say he or she was open. But if in fact you have the ball and you don't think that person is open, then you have to take the shot.
Well, so USC falls in this one, and yet, you know, they talk about defense being the key all the time. They held Stanford to 28% shooting from the field and still managed to lose. I don't know how you go from 82 points on Thursday night, a game in which you lose to 46. That's a pretty big difference.
It really is, but you're looking at two guys that can really coach. And you can't simulate Pac-10 basketball. It doesn't matter who you play. In the Pac-10, everybody knows your plays. They know your tendencies. They know what you're going to do sometimes before you do it. And Trent Johnson, he knows everything that Stanford wanted to do, but more importantly, he knows everything that USC wanted to do. And likewise with Tim Floyd. This is the Pac-10. The players know each other. They play against each other all summer long, and it was just a hard-fought game.
Conference play 0-2. You say don't worry just yet, and yet at the same time they're at the bottom of the Pac-10 standings right along with Oregon State, who was expected to finish 10th. So, but USC, you don't think that this is too much cause for concern?
No, it was on the road. And what you have to remember is that Stanford, when they met today and had their pregame meal, they said, we're going to defend our home court. No different than what Tim Floyd is going to do in the beautiful Galen Center. When those teams come in next week to the Galen Center, the Trojans are going to win both those games. They're going to have to dig deep and find out and protect their home court. Arizona State, great job. It's been 1997-98 since they started the Pac-10 2-0 or 2-0 to open up. But they were supposed to win those two games. They're at home. UCLA, they get the star of the day. They were able, or the weekend, they were able to go 2-0, so now they're 2+. And again, you have to think of it as a coach. As fans, and we all love our schools. You want to win every game. But there is home court in this conference, and this is the best conference in the country, without a doubt. Coach Montgomery really embellished the thought in my mind is that he took exactly what his dad was able to do, and he's built upon it, and he's put his own stamp on it, a la getting the ball up a little bit more, running off of turnovers and misses. But you know what they say, Lindsay, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. He is one heck of a young coach, and you just watch those games, and you know that those Cougars love playing for that young coach.
Well, and they have a lot of talent there, obviously. Derek Lowe is a special player, and that's one name that USC needs to look out for on Thursday.
No question. I mean, there's got to be an urgency. You better know where he is. And one thing he will do, he does have leadership, and he will run that team as an extension of Coach Bennett on the floor. You
were somebody that was known as a very successful recruiter in your days at USC as an assistant coach and at the other colleges that you worked for. So how impressive is it that he has been able to do this at Washington State? Because we all know that that's not an easy place to recruit.
It's really amazing, and I can compare that to recruiting when I was at Utah State with Larry Eustace. And there's really not much to do. It's not like coming to L.A. It's not like going to the Bay Area. But I'll tell you what, if you create a family atmosphere, which what we were able to do, and I'm sure they were able to do it, that's really what kids come for. You know, everyone's going to be on TV. You're a great league, but I'm sure Tony Bennett has a family atmosphere. They definitely play like a family. They definitely have each other's back. And when you get a kid there, you don't have to have all the hoop and the la-la land. You just come and say, I want to play for a great coach and do something special.
Good group of guys up there at Washington State, and they are playing really good basketball in the last couple of years, and certainly to start the season this season. So it will be a tough test for the Trojans on Thursday. Still more on this game today, this loss to Stanford. We're going to hear from Tim Floyd about this one after this quick break. So, Coach, your thoughts on this one, USC. They played poorly. A lot of things went wrong. They were still in the game. What do you take away from this if you're Tim Floyd and you're getting ready to face Washington State on Thursday?
Well, first of all, with the Trojan players, let's look at the Trojan players. They got experience, and that's what we've talked about. They're young. O.J. Mayo has been a superstar since 7th or 8th grade, but he hasn't played in the Pac-10, where everybody is very, very good. So, number one, they've got experience. Number two, with a coach like Tim Floyd, they will get back to the Galen Center. They will practice. They will take care of the basketball. As he alluded to, you can't have 23 turnovers and expect to win anywhere in any conference. So those are correctable things. Rebounding, that's a staple of Tim Floyd, as I indicated earlier. Defense, rebounding, and his teams always play together. And that's been at Idaho. That's been at Iowa State, anywhere he's coached. So again, I'll go back to, don't be alarmed, Trojan fans. It was 2 on the road. We do have our work cut out for us, and we've just got to get back. And wins aren't made here talking about it or post-game interviews. Wins are going to be taken care of on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, when the Trojans get down to work and correct those correctable errors, because they did play hard.
Is it possible that our expectations have been raised too high early in the season? They played so well against some really top-ranked teams. Kansas could have beaten them. Memphis could have beaten them. And so you start to think that, okay, this team is going to mature quicker than we thought. I mean, at the beginning of the season, you knew it was going to take a while. This is a really young team, no seniors, all freshmen and sophomores.
You really do, but it's just like having children, like my 2 guys that are in high school. One week they do good on a test, the next week not so good. And it's a learning experience. Coach indicated or alluded to, it's a learning curve. And those teams, you know, look at what SC did. They played on a Sunday morning, and then they were in New York City to play on a Tuesday. You don't really get time to prepare. You get down a set or two, you know 1 or 2 tendencies. But I'm telling you, they know every tendency that O.J. Mayo has, Taj has, Devon has, you know, what Dwight Lewis does well. It's a whole different world. So, again, that's good for the rankings. It's good for the fans. But we just have to get back and get more practice time. And, again, sometimes you have to find a bottom to your team. Everybody's happy when you have success. But when you hit adversity and down 2 games in this league, there's a little bit of an adversity. Now you learn from it. And, again, Tim Floyd is really, really good at being able to take it from the tape to the practice floor.
And figure out how to win. That's experience that they need too, specifically because they've been in these close games now against very good teams. They've yet to come away with a W in any of those games. And that's experience like you're talking about.
No question.